Narcissism is often described as extreme self-love, but psychologically it is more complicated than simply thinking highly of yourself. At its core, narcissism involves an unstable sense of self that can become heavily dependent on admiration, recognition, superiority, or control. A person may appear extremely confident while being deeply sensitive to criticism, rejection, humiliation, or anything that threatens their desired image. This creates a contradiction. They may behave as though they are exceptionally important while privately depending heavily on other people's reactions to maintain that feeling. Narcissistic traits exist on a spectrum. An occasional self-centered behavior does not automatically mean someone has a narcissistic personality disorder. Healthy confidence allows a person to recognize their strengths without needing to diminish others. Narcissistic patterns become more concerning when admiration becomes a psychological necessity and relationships become primarily centered around the person's needs. One common feature is the constant pursuit of validation. Praise may provide temporary satisfaction, but because the underlying insecurity remains unresolved, the person may repeatedly seek attention, status, compliments, or recognition. Criticism can feel disproportionately threatening because it does not simply challenge a behavior. It can feel like an attack on the person's entire identity. As a result, they may become defensive, dismissive, angry, or determined to prove their superiority. Another important feature is difficulty accepting responsibility. Admitting mistakes can conflict with the idealized image they are trying to protect, so blame may be redirected toward others. The person may minimize their behavior, justify it, change the subject, or portray themselves as the victim. Narcissism can therefore become particularly damaging in close relationships, where empathy, accountability, and mutual respect are essential. The deeper psychology of narcissism often involves a fragile relationship with self-worth. Some narcissistic behaviors may develop as psychological defenses against feelings of inadequacy, shame, rejection, or powerlessness. Instead of tolerating those painful feelings, the person may construct an identity based on superiority, achievement, attractiveness, intelligence, status, or control. This does not mean every narcissistic person secretly feels worthless, nor does it excuse harmful behavior. Understanding possible psychological roots is different from justifying the consequences. Narcissistic behavior can create relationships where admiration is expected but accountability is resisted, affection becomes conditional, and other people's needs are treated as secondary. When someone challenges the person's self-image, they may respond with anger, contempt, withdrawal, manipulation, or attempts to regain control. Over time, people around them may become exhausted from constantly managing their reactions. The most important distinction is between understanding narcissism and diagnosing it. Only a qualified mental health professional can diagnose narcissistic personality disorder, and not every difficult, selfish, arrogant, or insecure person has it. What matters in everyday life is the pattern of behavior and its impact. Healthy self-esteem does not require constant applause. Genuine confidence can tolerate criticism, admit mistakes, respect boundaries, and celebrate other people's success. Real strength does not require superiority. A psychologically secure person can be wrong without feeling destroyed, can apologize without feeling humiliated, and can allow others to shine without experiencing it as a personal threat. In this sense, the opposite of narcissism is not self-hatred. It is a stable sense of self that does not need to constantly prove its importance. True self-worth becomes strongest when it no longer depends on being admired, feared, obeyed, or considered better than everyone else.